Hello, good afternoon, students. Welcome to the live lecture of functional analysis. In the last lecture, we were observing one theorem which is actually related to the equivalent norms defined on the given linear space X. Theorem says that whenever we have norm 1 and norm 2 be the two equivalent norms in the corresponding linear space X, then the Cauchy sequences are same. Similarly, convergent sequence in both the non-linear spaces are same. We have completed the proof of first result, that is Cauchy sequences are same. Why we were saying same? Because whenever we consider the Cauchy sequence, the elements of the sequence are taken from the underlying the set X. That of it is satisfying the condition, Cauchy condition regarding norm 1. Okay. Therefore, if I prove the same sequence is Cauchy with respect to norm 2, then elements will not change. Only Cauchy criteria is going to change. Therefore, the Cauchy sequence remains the same. That's why we were saying Cauchy sequences in X norm 1 and X norm 2 are same. Same is true for the convergent sequences. The proof of first point we have completed. The second point let us complete in 1 or 2 minutes. Here we have X and be a convergent sequence in X norm 1 we have considered. Okay, that is Xn tends to X in X norm 1. That is norm 1 of Xn minus Xn tends to 0, or one can write less than epsilon. And now we were using the condition that the two norms are equivalent, and as the two norms are equivalent we can write this condition for the equivalent norm, the inequality. And here I am writing m norm 1 of x is less than or equals to norm 2 of x less than or equals to norm 1 of x. Now this right hand side I am the same right hand side I am writing for the element xn minus x. Okay, thus what can I write as norm 2 of xn minus x is less than or equals to capital M into norm 1 of xn minus x. Okay, using right part of the inequality, no, RHS of the above inequality, correct? Now if I use this right hand side is tending to 0, right? No, norm 1 of xn minus x is tending to 0. Then what about this left hand side? Can I say this is also tending to 0? Norm 2 of xn minus xn is also tending to 0 as n tends to infinity since. What is the reason? Norm 1 of xn minus x tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Now what is the meaning norm 2 of xn minus x tends to 0? The sequence xn is convergent in x norm 2, right? Now the sequence xn is convergent in x norm 2. Is it okay? Again, the sequence is going to remain the same. The convergence criteria we were checking with respect to two different norms. Therefore, here one can write the convergence sequences are same. Correct? Convergence sequence in both the norm spaces x norm 1 and x norm 2 are same. Yes, any difficulty with this? If you have, you can ask me.
No, ma'am.
Now let us write one corollary on this. By using this second part, we can say that we can put a corollary that two norms are equivalent if and only if convergence of one sequence in X norm 1 implies and implied by convergence in other norm. Let me write two norms are equivalent if and only if convergence of a sequence convergence full word I will write convergence of a sequence in X norm 1 implies and implied by convergence in X norm 2. Okay, correct now? This is what the theorem means actually. If these are the equivalent norms, then convergence sequence are same. Therefore, one can say the corollary that the two norms are equivalent if and only if convergence for sequence in X norm 1 implies and implied by convergence in x norm 2. Now let us come to today's lecture. In today's lecture, we were going to solve one example by using the for proving the two norms on the given linear space are equivalent. Let me write the example. Let x norm x and y norm y norm y be the norm the linear spaces over the same field K. See how the notations are used. Just to make it very sure that norm x is the linear norm on x. The symbol used is norm x, and for the norm on y it is norm y. On the same scalar field say K, or you can write comma T from x to y be topological isomorphism. What is the meaning of topological isomorphism?
When one linear and T and T inverse are continuous.
They generate same topology, right now? Whatever you told me are the conditions. The meaning is the two spaces generates the same topology. Now, these are the two norms. Norm x is a norm defined on x. Norm y is a norm defined on y. Now we were defining the other norms on the two spaces, and we will try to prove the two norms are equivalent. Therefore, let me define a norm. Simple norm x. How I am defining this is norm y of t of x. Okay, this is for all x in x. Means this is the norm defined on x, no? Right. Similarly, other norm we were defining norm dash of y, and we were defining this as norm x of t inverse y. And this is for all y in y. Therefore, this is the norm defined on capital Y, right? Then it is asked us to show that these two norms are equivalent. Norm and norm y, norm and norm x are equivalent. So that norm defines a norm first, defines a norm equivalent to norm x on capital X. Okay. Second is norm dash defines a norm equivalent to norm y on capital. So first try to understand the example. Okay. See, T is the mapping we have defined from x to y. Let me write the norms defined originally on the spaces. Norm x is the norm defined on x. Norm y is the norm defined on y. Therefore, if I start with any element small x in x, the t image of the element will lie in y. Therefore, if I am interested in finding norm of this t of x, which norm will be applicable? Norm y, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that okay? Therefore, whenever I am saying norm y of t of x for all x in x, then this will be a norm defined on x. Okay. Now the other norms defined are the new norm defined on x is simple norm. The other norm defined on y is norm dash. Now this norm is defined as norm x is defined as norm y of t of x. Okay. And norm dash is defined as norm of t inverse y. Norm x of t inverse y. Is that okay? Again, let us start. If you are starting with any element y in y, okay, see I am writing any element y in y. What is the corresponding image in x? Is it t inverse y? Correct, na?
Yes, ma'am.
If you start with x in x, the t image tx will be in y. But if once we start with y in y, its inverse image t inverse will be in x. Therefore, t inverse y is an element of x, no?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is an element, t of x is an element of capital Y. Okay. But basically, this x selected is an element of x, and this y selected is an element of y. Therefore, the norms defined on the corresponding spaces norms are defined like this. Norm x is defined as norm y of t of x. That is, while defining this norm is used. Is it okay? New norm, while defining this new norm on x, this norm is used. Is it okay? Similarly, while defining this new norm on this space y, this norm is used. Is everyone getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now our aim is to show that whatever the two norms are there, norm x and norm, defined on the linear space x, these two are, first this new norm is a norm and then equivalent to norm x. Secondly, norm dash is a norm and then we have to prove equivalent to norm y. Means two steps to prove. In the first step, we will show that this norm defines a norm. How can I show that this norm defines a norm? Yes? How can I show this norm defines a norm? How many conditions should I verify?
Four
Four
conditions.
conditions.
Right, four conditions of norm to be verified. Once we verify, it remains to show that this norm is equivalent to norm x. This norm is equivalent to norm x, and for this it is sufficient to prove the inequality m norm of x that we have proved no in the last lecture is being satisfied. Okay, let us go for proving part 1 and step 1 again. Okay, in part 1 what we were trying to prove, that this norm defines a norm first. Defines a norm equivalent to norm x. Okay, in step 1 what we will do, we will first prove that, to prove that norm satisfies, or to prove that this norm is a norm on x. Okay, to satisfy this norm is a norm on x, let us go for all the four conditions one by one. What will be the first condition to prove this norm x is greater or equal by 0, right now? For all x in x. Okay? But how this norm is defined? This norm is defined as norm y of t of x. Is it okay? Norm x is norm y of t of x. Okay? But what is norm y? Norm y is given to be or defined to be a norm on y. Therefore, it is satisfying all the four conditions already. Correct? Therefore, let me use the four conditions of norm y to show the four conditions of this norm. Okay? Any
Yes,
confusion
ma'am.
with this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but can I write norm y of t of x is greater or equal by 0? Reason, norm y is a norm on, yes,
Why?
Why?
y. Very good. Okay, here I will write a hint. Okay, what hint is? Use norm y conditions to prove conditions of norm for this norm. Correct now? Norm y is given to be a norm, and this norm we are proving to be a norm. Might be somewhat confusing, but if you have confusion, you can ask me. Now, if this norm is non-negative, may I say norm x is non-negative? Because these
Yes,
two are
ma'am.
same, no? Okay, first condition we have proved. Let me go for the second condition. What to prove in the second condition?
Norm
Yes?
x equal to 0 implies and implied x equal to 0.
Very good. Implies and implied by x is equal to 0. Okay. Let me start again by considering norm x is equal to 0. But what is the definition for norm x? Norm y of t of x. Okay. But what is norm y? Is already a norm. Therefore, if it is equal to 0, may I write p of x is equal to 0?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, norm y is norm on capital Y. Now, if t of x is equals to 0 for all x in x, or for any arbitrary x, where t is linear, what is the nature of x?
0 from 0.
Yes, it is 0. Element itself is 0, no? Correct, no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Second we have verified. Let us go for the third. What to prove in the third?
Norm of x plus y is equals to norm of x plus
Triangular
norm of
inequal.
Less than or equals to, right? Less than or triangular inequality. Okay. Again, let me consider the left hand side. Norm of x plus y. As per the definition, this is norm of t image of x plus norm y of t image of x plus y. Right now? By definition. But what we know norm y is a norm. Before that, let me use linearity. What linearity gives me then? Is it tx plus ty? Reason t is linear. Why t is linear? Is it given in the statement? T is given to be topological isomorphism. Is it linear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, topological isomorphism includes the linearity condition. Now norm y is a norm, therefore let me just separate. This is norm y of t of x added with norm y of t of y. Norm y is not on capital Y. Or you can write the conditions regarding it. Okay, what is this first? Is it norm x? And this is norm y. Hence the proof for the third property. Let us prove the last one then. Norm of alpha x. We wanted to prove mod of alpha into norm of x. Okay, consider norm of alpha x. As per the definition, this is t norm y of t image of the corresponding vector. Correct now? By definition, this is. Okay. Now, norm y of t of alpha x. Let us use linearity first. Is it alpha tx? T linear or T is topological isomorphism you can read. Okay, what is this norm y is a norm, therefore can I write this as mod alpha into norm y of T of x. Therefore this is mod alpha into norm of x and hence the proof. Yes, therefore may I write this norm is a norm on capital X. Is that okay? Therefore, we have two
Yes, ma'am.
different norms on the linear space X. One is norm X originally given, and just now we have proved this also norm. Now the aim is to show that these two norms are equivalent. Okay. Step 2. To prove that this norm is equivalent with norm X. Okay, then what kind of aim we have in our mind to prove that inequality, na?
Open C.
Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
That inequality of this type, na? M norm x of x less than or equals to, let me keep this norm in the middle. Norm x less than or equals to capital M into norm x of x. This kind of inequality is in our mind. If I wanted to show norm is equivalent to norm x, or you can change the norms also, na? So one can prove m norm of x less than or equals to norm x of x less than or equals to m norm of x. One can prove any one of them, right? It is not compulsory to prove the first or to prove the second. Whichever is possible for us, one can prove. Okay. Now while proving this part, we were using the mapping T is topological isomorphism, because this topological isomorphism involves or includes the condition that T and T inverse are continuous. They are linear as well, therefore those are bounded. Therefore we were going to make use of some boundedness property for proving these kind of results, right now, because boundedness gives us this kind of inequalities, right? Norm P
Yes,
of
ma'am.
x less than or equals to m into or k into norm of x. This kind of inequality is given with the help of boundedness. Therefore, let us make use of this topological isomorphism property that the mapping T and T inverse are continuous. Knowing linear, we can write they are bounded. Okay. Here I will write, we know that T is a topological isomorphism, right? Topological isomorphism, how many conditions it includes?
Three conditions.
Hmm.
One
Which,
linear,
T and T inverse
T inverse continuous.
very good. T and T inverse continuous. These three conditions it includes. Out of the three, we were using T inverse. If I am writing, this implies T and T inverse are continuous. Okay. Can I write they are bounded as well?
Yes, ma'am.
T linear, whether it gives you T inverse linear.
yes ma'am.
Yes, we have seen this, no? T and T inverse are linear, therefore we have written both are bounded. Okay, let us write the boundedness property for T function. Correct? Now, as T is bounded, let us write the condition of boundedness. Let me just repeat, T is a mapping defined from X to Y. Okay, initially we were defined the norm X on X, norm Y on Y. Okay, now tell me what is the condition? Hmm. For every x, if I start with any x in x, the t image will be in y. Therefore, how we were writing the boundedness condition? Is it
Norm y of
not
T of x
mhm,
less or equal
less or equal
K
to?
into
Now here I am writing norm t, because we have seen the definition of the operator norm, four definitions of the operator norm. In the fourth definition, we have mentioned no that norm t is inferior such value. Okay, I'll just repeat. Fourth condition, norm T we have defined as inferior such a k greater than 0 such that norm T of x is less than or equals to k into norm of x. Right now, that is norm T is the infimum value satisfying this condition. Right now, is that okay? If
yes,
norm
ma'am.
T is the smaller one, I can replace this k by norm T itself. I think we have written this as a remark or something.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, therefore I am writing this now. Therefore, norm y of t of x, now it is norm less than or equals to norm t into norm of x, and it is for all x in x, no? And t inverse is also bounded. Again, we will recall t inverse is the mapping now from, I cannot write y to x because I don't know whether it is onto, but for the sake of understanding, let me write y to x. Therefore, what are the norms defined? These are the norms defined. Therefore, if I start with any y in y, what will be the image in the codomain?
T inverse of y.
T inverse of y. Now tell me that boundedness condition. This implies, you have to write like this, no?
Yes, ma'am. T
Hmm.
inverse of norm x of T inverse of y less equal by
Yes, this equal by,
Norm of T inverse.
very good.
Norm of y of
Y.
Which norm?
y.
Yes, norm y of y. Is that okay? And is true for all y in y. Okay? Any difficulty in this?
No, ma'am.
Let me call this as statement 1. Let this be statement number 2. Now anyhow we have to involve this norm in norm x. Na? Here we have obtained both inequalities in both the norms, norm x and norm y. Now we will try to involve this norm x. Okay. Now consider what is norm x given as per the definition, norm y of t of x, right now? समजते का लक्षात येते का?
Yes, ma'am.
नॉर्म इन्व्हॉल्व झालेत, नॉर्म एक्स नॉर्म वाय हे दोन नॉर्म इन्व्हॉल्व झालेत. याचा काही इश्यू नाही, हा ऑपरेटर नॉर्म आहे बरोबर. म्हणजे दोन नॉर्म्स इन्व्हॉल्व झालेत. आता राहिला कुठला नॉर्म इन्व्हॉल्व करायचा? हा मधला नॉर्म समजा बरोबर. त्याला इन्व्हॉल्व करू आपण. ओके. लेट दिस norm x is norm y of t of x. Okay. Now again knowing t bounded, can I write this as less than or equals to norm t into which norm I can write? This
Norm
condition
x
I am
of x.
using statement 1. Norm x of
X.
this is from 1, right? Right, no?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me call this as 3. See, if you observe one part of the inequality we have obtained, norm x into some scalar into norm of x. Right part we have obtained, no? That norm t if I keep as fixed scalar m. Because if the operator is fixed, operator norm will be also fixed. What remains to prove? This left part, correct? Okay. Now to prove this left part, again I am going to start with norm x of x. Can I write this as, now I want to involve t inverse. Therefore I will write this x as t inverse of t of x. T inverse of t of x. Now I will use this second statement. What is the second statement gives us? This is less than or equals to norm t inverse into, yes, norm y of t of x by using 2. Is it clear to everyone? Y I am
Yes, ma'am.
comparing with t of x. Is that okay? If a norm x of x is less than or equals to norm t inverse into norm of x, now I can write this, shifting this norm t inverse on the left, I can write norm x of x upon norm of t inverse is less than or equals to norm y of t of x. And let me call, okay, before giving the statement number, norm y of t of x is nothing but norm x, no? New norm. Is that okay? This is my definition and I'll call this as 4 then. Yes? Getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now look at this 3 and 4. Okay? Combining 3 and 4 now. What 3 and 4 combined gives us? 1 upon norm of t inverse into norm x of x less than or equals to norm of x. Which equation I have written? This one I have written, 4. Okay. Now I will write 3. Norm x is less than by norm t into norm x of x. Okay. Now what we were going to put? We are going to put these values as the fixed scalars. This as small m and this as capital M. Okay. So let me write this as m norm x of x less than or equals to norm x less than or equals to capital M into norm x of x. Reason, Small m we have substituted 1 upon norm of T inverse, and capital M I have substituted norm of T. Okay, therefore may I say the inequality satisfies, hence this norm is equivalent to norm x on capital X. Is it okay?
Yes,
See,
ma'am.
two steps we have proved. In the first part, we have first proved that this norm is a norm first by verifying the four conditions, and later we have proved this norm is equivalent to norm x with the help of that inequality which we have written here. Okay. Now the second part is very similar to this. Norm dash defines a norm equivalent to norm y. So for this I will keep for homework. Okay, you have to try for this. Method will be same. First you have to show the norm dash is the norm by verifying four conditions, and then go for proving it is equivalent with norm y by using T is topological isomorphism. Okay, so I'll keep this for homework, and we will go for our next important theorem. Okay, what we have seen that LPN is a nonlinear space, no? LPN space.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct now? Which norm we have defined on the LPN space? LPN spaces we have proved Banach spaces rather. Nonlinear spaces as well as Banach spaces. Do you remember which norm we have defined? Do anyone remember?
Norm P.
Yes, norm P. What is the value?
Summation I running from 1 to n mod of xi p bracket raised to 1 by p.
Very good. This is the norm we have defined and we have proved. Under this norm, this is the non-linear space as well as the Banach space. Now, in this example, we were going to show how many norms we can define like that for different values of p. Infinite norms are there, right now. For every p, we have one norm on the LPN spaces, right? And that's why in this example, we were going to prove that all norms defined on the LPN spaces are equivalent. See what I'm saying? All norms defined on the LPN spaces are equivalent to one another. Let me write the example. If n is a positive integer, LPN represents different norms for different values of p. P. What is p? Lying between greater equal by 1 less than infinity on the same set of n tuples. Correct na? What is n tuple we were writing? x1, x2, xn with norm. Let me just recall norm P we have defined as summation I equals to 1 to n mod xi raised to p raised to 1 by p for any value of p greater equal by 1 less than infinity. Then show that all norms are equivalent to one another. See what a big example it is, no? But we were proving it with a simple trick. Okay. This is the LPN spaces. For every p, if I take for the sake of convenience p integers, then how many norms are defined? Norm 1. How this norm 1 is defined? Putting p equals to 1 here, right now. Then say norm 2 defined, say norm 3 defined, say norm 4 defined, and continue. Infinite norms I can define on the same space LPN. Now to show all the norms are equivalent to one another, what we will do? We will take an arbitrary norm, say norm P, one more arbitrary, say norm Q, and we will show these two are equivalent to one another. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And to show this, we will use the remark we have written just now. The two norms are equivalent if and only if convergence of a sequence in one norm is implied and implied by convergence in another norm. This fact we were going to follow. That is, we will start with one convergent sequence with respect to norm P, right? And then we will prove that the same sequence is convergent with respect to norm Q also. Is that okay? Let me just write the proof. Here I'll just put a remark before that. We will prove the result by help of corollary. Which corollary? Two norms are equivalent if and only if convergence in norm 1 implies and implied by convergence in norm 2. Okay. Clear to everyone? Now let me start with the sequence, convergent sequence which is convergent in norm 1. Okay. Let me write. Let sequence XR be a convergent sequence in X norm P. Correct now? X norm P. What is the meaning? Yes, that is
Summation mod of
XR converges to X as R tends to infinity in Pth norm. Is it okay? XR converges to some element X say as R tends to infinity in Pth norm. Okay. How can you define XR? How many tuples it will have? Every element. Actually, XR is an element of LPN, and LPN is a collection of all n tuple vectors. Therefore, every element of this sequence XR is an n tuple vector, right? So let me write an arbitrary XR vector. How can I write? This is X1R, X2R, so on up to XNR. Okay. Similarly, what will be this vector X? Is it X1, X2 to Xn? Okay. Okay. Now what we will show? This convergence with respect to norm. First, we will prove that this convergence is with respect to point-wise convergence, coordinate-wise convergence. This is n-tuple vectors, no? What I am trying to say is, whatever the sequence we were writing, say x1, x1, x2, xr, and so on, every element is an n-tuple vector. Every element is an n-tuple vector which is converging to x. What is x? N-tuple vector again. Therefore, first we will show it is coordinate-wise convergence. Coordinate-wise convergence means the first coordinates converges to x1. Second coordinate sequence converges to x2 and this converges to xn. This is what we will show first. Okay. If we show this, it will be easier for us. Now we shall show that convergence with respect to each norm is equivalent to coordinate-wise convergence. Understood now what is coordinate-wise convergence? Previously also we have seen this concept of coordinate-wise convergence. Right? So let me consider. What I am going to consider is norm P of XR minus X. Okay, here also one may make one more argument, that is norm P of XR norm P of XR minus X tends to 0 as R tends to infinity. Right now, both are same, na? XR converges to X in pth norm means norm P of XR minus X converges to 0. So let me find out what is norm P of XR minus Xn. According to the definition, this is summation I equals to 1 to n. What will be ith coordinate of this vector XR minus X? What is ith coordinate? So here if I am writing the ith coordinate xir and here it is xi. What will be a subtraction?
XIR minus XI.
Very good. XIR minus XI. This is raised to P, no? And whole thing raised to 1 upon P. Okay? Okay. Now let us use the condition. Since XR converges to X as R tends to infinity. As R tends to infinity. What is the definition saying? For given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a R naught such that, what such that? Norm P of XR minus X less than epsilon for all R greater equal by R naught. Correct, na? I have written the definition.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let me write the definition for this summation I equals to 1 to n mod of xir minus xi raised to p whole thing raised to p less than epsilon. Okay, either you can go with epsilon delta epsilon definition, or you can write directly this norm tends to 0, and I feel it is better to write tends to 0 always. Okay, therefore for now taking pth root on pth power on both the side, we have, yes, if I take pth powers epsilon raised to p less than epsilon, I can say,
Yes, ma'am.
less than epsilon between 0 to 1. Okay, therefore this term is less than epsilon. Now what happens if summation of some non-negative terms less than epsilon? May I say every term will be less than epsilon?
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, can I write here xi? Yeah, every term I will write less than epsilon. Okay. Next, taking pth root on both the sides. Less than epsilon raised to p, which is less than epsilon. Can I say? Epsilon raised to
Yes,
1
ma'am.
is less than epsilon. Okay. So what we have proved? Xir minus xi is less than epsilon for r greater equal by r naught. Therefore, may I say this coordinate wise convergence holds. Xir converges to xi. Xir converges to xi. Okay. Thus, we get XR converges to X in norm P. But have you observed any P in this last statement? कुठे P दिसतोय का या लास्ट स्टेटमेंट मध्ये
No,
जिथे आपण
ma'am.
कॉन्व्हर्जन्स म्हणतोय? नो, करेक्ट ना? XIR converges to X in norm P implies XIR converges to XI in norm P. I will give somewhere this statement number say 1. Therefore, if this 1 is independent, may I say if it is convergent in norm with respect to norm P, I can say it is convergence with respect to any norm because no P is involved in that. Therefore, I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
write here is since 2 is independent of P, no P is involved, no? Okay, therefore we can say that we get this 1, no. This 1 is independent of P, we get 1 is true for any norm, for any norm. Therefore I can write, this is for norm P. Therefore I can write XIR converges to XI in norm Q. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now revert all the steps. Whatever we have done, now revert all the steps. Can I write this norm is less than by epsilon?
Yes, ma'am.
Reverse every step. And finally we can say summation I equals to 1 to n XIR minus XI raised to Q, whole thing raised to 1 by Q less than epsilon for R greater than or equals to R0. That's why instead of writing less than epsilon, it is better if you write tends to 0. This tends to 0, this tends to 0, it will be easier. Correct now? If I can say this sequence XR converges to X in norm Q. What is the restriction on Q? 1 to infinity, okay? So what we have started with? We have started with one sequence, convergent sequence in norm Q. Thus, the sequence XR converges to X in norm Q also. Okay? Hence, XR converges to X in norm P implies XR converges to X in norm Q also. Right now, if I interchange P and Q, what will happen? Okay, on interchanging, can I say XR converges to X in norm Q implies XR converges to X in norm P. Correct now? Therefore, may I say combinely, thus XR converges in norm P implies and implied by XR converges in norm Q. Thus, by corollary, two norms are equivalent. What PQ are? Any two values, no? Therefore, may I say all norms are equivalent. Thus, by
Yes, ma'am.
corollary, norm P and norm Q are equivalent. And since P and Q are arbitrary, they are not fixed out, no? Since P and Q are arbitrary, may I say all norms defined are equivalent. All norms on LPN are equivalent. Any difficulty in the proof of this theorem? If you have, you can ask. Very simple corollary we have used in order to prove the result. Convergence in one norm implies an implied convergence in another norm. Yes? Any difficulty at any step? If you have, you can ask. Yes, students, you have difficulties or not?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
If not, let us stop for today's lecture. Thank you for being with me for this lecture.